I mean, poor Kate McCann, I've known her for a long time. Lovely, lovely lady, good journalist, but a bit of drama.
Yes, it was quite surprising to see what happened. I'm glad to hear that she's okay. But yeah, it was quite shocking seeing that as an audience member. But from what we heard, that she seems to be doing fine. So I'm glad to hear that.
Can we just clarify, because we only got shots from one camera on Liz Truss, who seemed to sort of dash off to help her. Is that what happened?
Yes. So as an audience member, we were in another room, so we literally was seeing what was actually happening. And we just saw that Liz Truss's reaction, and we were like, "Oh God, what just happened?" And then members of the crew told us Kate sadly collapsed and fainted, but they said that she's okay, and medics were with her, and they have updated us about what was going on. And then after, the candidates came through to speak with us, so that was nice because that was good to see. But yeah, they kept us updated, and I'm glad to hear that Kate's okay.
Yeah, they've released a statement, haven't they, saying that it was on medical advice that the debate not continue, and they're looking at actually rescheduling it later on, which would be brilliant if that happens for us, the general public, and for the channel as well. That's interesting. When the candidates came back out to talk to you, what were they saying? Because that was a bit of a shared moment that you'd all been through.
Yeah. They were just checking in on us to see if we were okay, and they just kind of asked us questions about us as general people, because the audience were Conservative Party members, as am I, and some Conservative voters as well. So they're just asking about background, and just asked us if we have any questions, and took some photos with them as well. So, but yeah, no, it was nice to hear from them. It was just a very quite informal conversation.
So following that, and I imagine that was possibly more useful than the debate itself in a way, having that one-to-one time with them. Who would, if the vote was tomorrow, who would you vote for?
I'm leaning towards supporting and backing Rishi Sunak. So I was actually at the meet and greet event in Hampstead yesterday. So it was good to hear from him. I definitely think he would make a great leader for the Conservative Party and a great Prime Minister. I think he has really good, strong economic fiscal policies. And I think that's something that we need right now in the economy in terms of the crisis that we're facing, the cost of living and inflation going up.
But isn't he someone who's got us into this mess to an extent? I mean, certainly on cost of living, it's all well and good now. We're sort of saying, well, we'll tackle it. But he wasn't tackling it particularly before all this happened.
Well, this is all kind of as a result of a global crisis. Obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic, it disrupted supply chains, it's disrupted so many countries' economies, and it's driven up the costs of products, the cost of production, and that's why it's trickling through in ordinary prices. So I guess, lots of different countries are approaching it in different ways, in different economies. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily fair to place that on the government as a whole. I guess everyone's trying to deal with it in their own ways. And of course, we've got to think about the NHS. We're one of the few countries that have a publicly funded NHS healthcare system. And we want to make sure we support that as much as possible, considering the COVID-19 pandemic.
And the NHS actually came up yesterday in the debate. There's been a lot about the economy up until now. Earlier, you said you were leaning towards Rishi Sunak, but based on the defence you just gave him there, it sounds as though he's got your vote.
Yeah, no, I've only recently decided. I was quite unsure because I actually originally backed Kemi Badenoch. I think she was great. I think she's a really strong Conservative, definitely in terms of her anti-woke policies. I think that's something that we need right now in general when it comes to our culture and our society too. So it was only very recently that I've actually decided who I want to back. But I think Liz Truss is great as well. I think she's a great candidate. I think both of them are quite good, regardless of whoever wins. So
it's interesting, though, because you quite like Kemi Badenoch because she was anti-woke.
Yeah.
Rishi isn't anti-woke, is he?
Well, I think his social policies, in terms of his policies and culture, I think that's still kind of something that we're still learning. And I think with both candidates, that's the case. As I said, I was quite undecided before, so I've only just recently decided it's because of the economy. And I think it's important to have someone that has experience in terms of, the fact that he was Chancellor, in terms of helping to tackle the main issues that people are facing.
But in terms of the economy, I mean, although economists disagree on all of this and we never get a straight answer, but Liz Truss has said, she wants to bring in tax cuts, reduce corporation tax is a big one that she's looking at, possibly reducing it down to 15%. I mean, that could actually... I mean, Rishi Sunak says that's inflationary. Mm-hmm. She says that's going to grow the economy.
Well, as in, it sounds great. I think everyone wants the taxes getting cut. When I saw the national insurance increase that came through my payslip a couple of months ago, I wasn't exactly thrilled about seeing that. But yeah, no, that does sound good. And I think, Rishi Sunak has committed to tax cuts, but when it's actually possible. And I think, 2024 is probably the best time to be doing that. And yeah, there is a risk of actually, if we introduce tax cuts too soon, we could actually make inflation worse in terms of that means people have more disposable income, they'll be spending more, and that will drive up prices again, demand and their prices.
Oh, so much of it is so unknown, isn't it?
Yes.
We do know 5th of September we'll have a new person at the helm of the party. Are you nervous that the tone of the debates and the leadership contest so far has meant that come the 5th of September, we may have a very disunited Conservative Party?
Yeah, I am a little bit concerned. I'm glad that I think there is definitely recognition from the candidates, campaign teams, of importance to make sure that, at the end of the day, whoever becomes leader, whoever becomes prime minister, the party needs to unite and back that person and ensure that they have whoever it is has the full support of the party. So I think in terms of the Conservative Party, we've always kind of been historically pragmatic. So unlike the Labour Party, so I think when needed, we'll all come together when that's necessary, and that's when we have a new leader in place.